Today I'm going to talk to you about two products that I think all of you could use. One of them is called Information Studio, and the other one is called APTARE. APTARE is a relatively new product for Veritas, although it's been around for about 20 years. The problem comes in in terms of Info Studio. There's a lot of new regulations that are popping up around the world. In terms of GDPR, a lot of people have heard of that, but even a lot of the local, even the state of California is coming out with their own laws around private information, personal information, and this explosion of kind of new regulations that are coming around the world are really exposing a lot of our customers and yourselves to potential risk that you might not know about. So what we're going to do is talk about how do you decrease that risk across all these different regulations that are popping up, and what we can do to help you expose that information that you might have that might be at risk. Now, you can do nothing and just ignore it, but there are real companies out there that are getting real fines that did not know. I can guarantee you that none of these companies knew that they were in some kind of violation of some of these laws. The other component to this is really knowing what you have and what you can get rid of. We have this concept of ROT, which is redundant, obsolete, and trivial data. Now, we're all guilty of it. I've got my phone here that has got pictures on it that I probably should have deleted a long time ago, but I'm not going to delete them because I still have space left. And so we all do it. You know, you just keep stuff around and you don't delete it. And eventually, you know, you run out of space and you have to start deleting stuff. Well, imagine an enterprise, all of your enterprises, and you've got servers, and you've got storage, and you've got all kinds of users that are storing all these files. You don't know what to keep, you don't know what to delete, and so you end up storing it all. It's costing you money. You're buying more storage. You're backing it up. So not only do you have one copy of it, you might have 3 or 4 copies of it. So how do you deal with that? So with Information Studio, we're going to gather data from about 120 or so different sources, put all that stuff and analyze it. We have a policy engine that can look for all of these different regulatory compliance issues, so you don't have to think about it. You don't have to know what laws are out there. Information Studio will tell you exactly where you're in violation of any of these regulations that are out there. Classifies the data automatically, and these simple policies will go out, it'll check for all these different areas and then tell you where you're potentially exposed. So you don't really have to think about it. We do this on a global scale. You can see we've got customers that have data centers in multiple countries, and you can analyze this data and find out where exactly you're exposed for that. A good example of a customer that we did a profile on was Nokia Bell, and we saved them approximately $2.5 million just in getting rid of data that they didn't need anymore. We do what we call a defensible delete, and that will identify the data as data that could be potentially deleted and give you the ability to just say, yes, we deleted it, and it was okay. So we have several products under that Info Studio portfolio that are going to help you visualize the data, help you archive that data through enterprise archiving, through our Enterprise Vault, and we're also going to help with your e-discovery requests. We have a lot of customers, especially where I come from, the United States, where everybody's getting sued all the time, and they're being forced to produce the information to lawyers for e-discovery. We have a really good way of being able to help identify where that data is and produce those e-discovery requests. So today's infrastructure is becoming more and more complex. I think every presenter that we had on today is going to talk to you about how complex everybody's infrastructure is. It is true. Everything is virtualized now. We got stuff that's on-prem, we got stuff that's in the cloud, and this makes things more complicated, and it makes things more risky because now you don't know where you're exposed. And every customer that I've talked to, whether they are just too embarrassed to say it or not, but they all tell me that, yes, we've got some kind of cloud strategy. They don't know what it is right now, most of them, but they'll say, yeah, we have a cloud strategy. So I'm going to say about 90% of our customers are saying, yeah, we've got some kind of cloud strategy. And we're seeing, at least in my experience, about 60% year over year growth just in this sector. In fact, it's happening a lot faster than I thought it would have. A lot of our customers are adopting, I think the first step is they will look at something like Office 365, and then they'll start moving some of their backup data out to the cloud. And eventually, we've got customers that are moving entire workloads out there. So this level of complexity now is changing at a very rapid rate. And because of that, you have risk. Now, I always think, well, what keeps the CEOs up at night? What makes them nervous? And it's getting that phone call in the middle of the night. You don't want to run an IT organization and get that phone call in the middle of the night saying, oh, we have to ground all of the planes today because our online transaction system didn't work and we can't launch, we have to ground everything. Or if you're a bank and you don't want to get that phone call that says one of our customers can log into their accounts and we're basically stuck right now. So how do you proactively get ahead of that? How do you get a handle on that? So APTARE IT Analytics is designed to do just that. From the ground up, from the day one, we were designed to basically take all of your storage, all of your backups, your whole infrastructure, and put it into a single pane of glass. The cloud came along, and of course we also had to include that. So under the kind of the umbrella of giving you complete visibility into your entire environment, we collect from your entire environment. When I say your entire environment, I mean every one of your storage arrays, all of your different backup products, everything. The data is going to come in to APTARE, and we're going to correlate it. Now we have this advanced correlation engine. Who did this? What is that thing anyway? Is that a car engine or a jet engine or it's from a spaceship? I don't know. Anyway, that's not really in APTARE, but it's something like that. So we're going to gather data from about 30,000 different data points in your environment. We're going to have algorithms which are going to calculate and correlate that data. Hi, somebody's taking a picture of me. And it's all machine-led. It's machine-governed. It's human-governed and machine-led. It's quasi AI, although I don't really like to call it AI. It's just a buzzword. And we're going to help predict failures with all this data, and we're going to optimize your performance. So the storage vendors that we collect from, if you look at the list here, everybody's got these. We collect from EMC, we collect from HP, Fujitsu, Hitachi, IBM, NetApp, all of the above, all of the major storage vendors. We gather data from all the major hypervisors, so VMware, Hyper-V, also OpenStack, KVM. We're going to gather data from all of the major backup products. So obviously NetBackup, a lot of you here have NetBackup, but we're also the best reporting tool for TSM and Commvault and Veeam and Cohesity and Rubrik. So whatever backup products you're running, whatever storage you have, and whatever cloud you're using, we're going to gather all that data and correlate it and put it into a single pane of glass. Now, What do we do with all that? Once we have all that data in there, what do customers do with it? Okay. Chargeback is one. We had a meeting with one of their partners, and one of their key requirements was chargeback. Oh, chargeback, right? So if you can imagine now, we've gathered all the data from all of your VMs, correlated it with the storage. So now I know my VM, and I know what storage it's using. I know which arrays it's attached to. I've collected from the backup software, so now I know that that VM is being backed up by NetBackup. I also know how much data it has stored out there, so I can put that on the bill as well. And I can create now a combined chargeback report where now I know exactly how much that infrastructure cost and how much each department is consuming of all of those different resources. Now I probably shouldn't be on this slide right now, but let's wait on that one. I want to talk about size and volume here. How do I go back? There, I'll hold that one. Keep this one in mind too. So I got a question. Most of you are running NetBackup. How many of you are doing 1,000 backup jobs a week? Anyone? One. How many are doing more than 10,000 backup jobs a week? None. How about 1 million? How about 6 million? This is actually data from one of our customers. We all talk about data growth and, you know, what rate is our data growing at? It's explosive. This is really one of our customers, their bank in the United States. They started using APTARE back in 2007. And these are the number of backup jobs they're doing. They are now up to 6 million backup jobs a week. Now, can you imagine what it's like trying to manage an environment that's doing 6 million backup jobs a week? It's mind-blowing. Without a product like APTARE, they would be completely lost. It's just not possible. So the other thing you can do with APTARE is you can make money. So when we're looking at an environment and we're looking at how much data you have, and we start seeing storage arrays and we start seeing hosts and we start seeing VMs, we're going to start finding that there are maybe some misconfigurations in your environment. So a good example is we did a kind of an assessment with a customer down in Brazil that came to us and said, hey, we can't buy storage for the next 3 years. So can APTARE help us find where we can reclaim storage from? We spent about a week down there working with them. We found about 3 petabytes worth of storage that was completely orphaned, completely available for use. They had no idea. Saved them millions of dollars. Another bank, JP Morgan, came to us and said, we've got all these data domains, and we know that we're getting hosts that are not getting good dedupe rates on these data domains. Can you help us identify which of those are out there so we can move them onto something cheaper, like a NetBackup Access appliance as an example? So we worked with them, developed this report. This goes out there, looks at their hosts that have the basically the largest backups that are getting the worst dedupe rates. And we assign cost values to them. We said, okay, cost per gigabyte for data domain is this. Cost per gigabyte for the NetBackup Access appliances is that. If we take just these clients that are not getting good dedupe rates on the data domain and move them onto something cheaper, how much money would we save? They use this report to justify to management to be able to migrate those hosts onto new hardware. EMC was not happy. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. So it's not just banks that use us, but banks tend to be the biggest, most complicated customers out there. They have multiple vendors in place. I've got customers that have 4 or 5 different backup products. And I asked them, what do you have for storage? And they say, all of them. I've got every storage array that's out there. Insurance companies. So MetLife is another one of our customers. They have 49,000 VMs in their environment. Just try to wrap your brain around that for a second. 49,000 VMs in their environment. They really could not manage their environment without something like APTARE. When we went in there, they didn't know what they had. They didn't know who was using it. They didn't know what rates things were growing at. We saved them a ton of money on just capacity planning, repetitive tasks that their management had to do, and their admins, and having to script everything and put it all together. And really, when you look at it, it's a lot of work to do to try to gather all this data. Most of our customers and our biggest competitors is really just dudes with spreadsheets. Almost all of you are probably doing this now, and you're doing it manually. So you're getting data from the storage arrays, and then getting data from the backup teams, and then putting it all together to try to do chargeback for this. It's a very difficult manual process to do, and we completely automate that whole process. So, in summary, we're going to help reduce cost, we're going to reduce complexity, and we're going to help reduce risk. And we got, I believe, outside one of the booths, we're going to be demonstrating, we have APTARE set up out there, so if you want to see it for yourselves, we'd be happy to show it to you. So, thank you.